Can we imagine for a moment a very wealthy person that doesn't know that he has this wealth? Would Donald Trump act a little bit differently? Can you imagine a guy who owns an airplane and he drives it up and down the street, stops for every pedestrian, stops at every stop sign, every red light? Could you imagine such a thing? Nuts? I'm afraid it could just be that we're all guilty of this. We're all this guy. We're all this person. Okay, step 2. Hashem has given each and every one of us so many unique strengths, so many unique talents. But our job is to really stop, sit back, and think, to become aware of those talents and to use them. There's a story of a girl, Hannah. Hannah was born blind, but Hannah did not allow her handicap to get in her way. She went to a regular school. She graduated with honors. She had tons of friends. Everything was good. She came, the time came, she came of marriageable age, and she wanted to find a guy that would love her and respect her and treasure her for her, and not, look at her handicap. So she waited, and eventually this guy Moshe came along. She met him, and they were crazy about one another. He didn't even notice her handicap. They got married, begun their life together. So one day Hannah was sitting at home, and she was listening to the radio, and she heard about this famous doctor who can heal blind people by doing an eye transplant. She became ecstatic, so excited. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to see. Immediately she called her husband Moshe. She said, Moshe, find out who this doctor is. Let's do it. Whatever it costs, whatever it takes. Moshe researches, this doctor looks into it, gets in touch with the doctor. The doctor says, sure, I'll put you on the list, but the waiting list is about 20 years. Hannah becomes very down, very depressed. Time goes on. About a month later, month and a half later, Moshe comes home. Hannah, guess what? You're next in line. You're going to have your transplant with God's help next week. You're going to be able to see. She's so happy. She doesn't know what to do with herself. The night before the operation, the procedure, the surgery, Moshe sits down with his wife and says, I just have to tell you one thing before you go into this surgery. And that is that I'm also blind. And I never told you that. I have this handicap as well. But I wanted to let you know that before you go on and have this surgery. She's, it was a little bit hard for her to accept, but she's like, amazing. And she starts to wonder to herself, how's it possible that he took care of me, so well, and that I didn't even notice that he had this limitation. Either way, she gets her surgery. There's a recovery period, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's amazing she's able to see. She starts to learn this is a stove, this is a fridge, this is a house, this is a car. And she starts just, wanting to explore the world, and she's ecstatic. She's just living high. And all of a sudden, she has to be the one that's helping. She has to be the one that's walking her husband to shul. She has to be the one that's helping him, find his clothing in the morning. And he becomes somewhat of a burden. After a year of this, she's like, that's it, I'm done. I loved him, he cared for me, but I have to end this relationship. I have to move on. I have to find a guy that will be able to see so we can live our lives together. And so the time comes, she leaves the house, she calls her husband, she's like, I can't be next to you when I have this conversation with you, so I need to have this conversation with you over the phone, but we cannot continue. Can't continue together, I can't do it. Moshe's like, I completely disagree with you, but I accept. I will be out of here, out of the house by give me a day. The next day, the next night, Hannah walks into her house, empty, quiet. She starts doubting herself. Did she make the right decision? Yes, no. And she finds this, she walks into the bedroom and finds a note on the bed. And the note reads as follows. We'll end with this. Dear Hannah, I want you to know that I respect your decision and understand that this is what you had to do. I want you to know that I still love you and will always love you no matter what. There is one favor I have to ask of you though. There is one thing I feel you have to know. Perhaps if you would have known this before, things would be different. Make sure to always take good care of those eyes, Hannah, because not too long ago those eyes were mine. There was a 20-year wait for an eye transplant, but I loved you so much and so dearly I wanted you to be happy that I decided to give you my eyes. For what wouldn't I do for my beloved Hannah? And in conclusion, our story, the husband Moshe is God, the wife Hannah is us. How careful must we be to recognize all that we're given from the one above, all the gifts that we have from Hashem. And how careful must we be not only to know that He gave them to us, but to also use our gifts, our talents, our strengths to make Him proud and to serve Him. Thank you.